话。
What up, what up, what up? Good afternoon, my good people. Conditioning for Business, volume 37. Back on the grind, on the trail today, getting it. All right, so let's get into it. So, over the past few days, I've had an opportunity to actually go through some really good business structuring and polishing up the etiquette, polishing up the structure, polishing up some of the constituents, clients, and opportunities that have presented themselves to me. But I must address one thing that's pretty much glaring. It's a situation that's been happening for years. And I want to address the lawlessness in most business ventures out here. Most markets, business markets, there seems to be a lawless type of attitude out there. I like this unregulated type of demeanor where people go out, they conduct businesses, they engage themselves with people. There seems to be no sense of pride or no sense of doing a good job, no sense of taking responsibility for what you do, no sense of consequences or some type of formidable type of requisite that would keep you in line to perform accordingly or to perform your job or task without beyond reproach. And there seems to be some type of arrogance, if I will, that goes along with that's been happening. So one of these things that I felt needed to be addressed were these constant individuals out here that mislead people. Now, there's a little town. But let me just say it this way. I grew up watching WCW, NWA wrestling. Everybody watches WWE. And I had a wrestler back then when I was a young kid, and his name was Cactus Jack. He later became known as Mankind and some of these other names that he's gone by. But he was from a town called Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I never forgot that. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I tell everybody right now, I'm from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, although I'm not. Charlotte is where it is. But anyway, Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Listen to the name of that, Truth or Consequences. Now, a town like that will give you the thought process that you can't play around if you go there. If you go to this town, you better be on your game. If you go to Truth or Consequences, you better believe that someone there is going to hold you to everything you do and everything you say. You're not going to be able to go there and pull the games on people and lie and deceive people with business. They're going to be on you in a town like that. That just reeks of a town that has judges and politicians that will throw you right in the slammer if you try any madness with them. They're gonna shut you straight down. Okay? So I say all that to say this. I live by a principle, and most of the people that I do business with live by the principle. But there's always this underlying group of people out there that don't live by these principles. They actually live by a set standard that they've created in a world that they can run and control, and they can live free and do whatever they want. It's like that movie, 21. Kevin Spacey, forget the name of the British actor that plays Ben, but he goes about creating these identities for himself. And like the young lady told him, the Jill Taylor, she said, you could be anyone you want to be in Vegas. Well, these people treat this business environment like it's Vegas. They can be whoever they want to be on the phone. They can make up these personas. I guarantee you there's somebody out there that has a fake mustache on the phone because they want to feel like they're that person, a Texan or somebody with this big hat with a fake mustache, although they're just this nerd guy on the computer living in his grandmother's basement, and he's about 38 years old. He's scared to be himself. He's frightened of himself. So what does he do? He builds this fake persona of who he wants everybody to believe he is. So he gets the fake mustache and the fake hat and the little fake chain and all that stuff. And he masquerades like he's someone he's not. So then you don't get, you fail to get the genuineness out of people when they behave this way. So you end up actually running into people who are not who they're supposed to be. They're not people of their word. And yet you end up shelving the burden with people who are a waste of your time, a waste of your energy, a waste of everything. These people you want to avoid. They shut your business down. They put you in a really, really bad position. And they cause you to lose out on really good business endeavors, good business situations because of their inadequacies or their reasoning to be straight up with you. So, truth to consequences. Again, I really wish there was some type of legal system put in place to where if you were untrue, if you lied, cheated, or stolen from anyone in business or anything else you did, you would have to be sentenced to fight a bear. I guarantee you, if you knew that was the sentence coming to you, no one would break the law. No one would lie to you in a business deal. Everyone would be on their best behavior. If you knew that what you told someone in a business deal was not apropos and not above board, your sentence is to fight the bear to death. I guarantee you, the success rate in business will skyrocket, or it will plummet. The reason I would plummet because people wouldn't bring ridiculous deals anymore. It would just cease to exist. People would just disappear. The fake deals, most of the business out here are fake. Some of these transactions that you might come across, the time wasters, the people that lie about their assets and all this stuff would cease to exist. You would get, your inbox would get less cluttered, and you would get less of these types of people circulating around your world. You might get less deals, but hey, guess what? The ones that you would get, they would be 100% authentic. So you wouldn't have the problems of wondering if the deal was good or not. You'd know every deal that you got was good and it was solid. A lot of these situations are not solid, and you waste a lot of your time picking through the remnants of a proposal that could have been something that it ends up being nothing because they're going to have to fight the bear. Sentenced to fight the bear. No one wants that. I know no one that want to fight the bear. I wouldn't want to fight the bear, okay? I guarantee you all the BS would go out the window if you were scheduled to fight the bear to the death because you lied or you cheated or you stole, okay? These things would cease to exist in an environment where there were consequences, truth or consequences, okay? Remember that. And you don't have to be from New Mexico to have truth or consequences. But I'd love to take my people there. I'm thinking about hosting a field trip for all these ridiculous people in business and taking them to a town. I'm gonna say I'm gonna sponsor an all expense paid trip for everyone I come into contact with that are full of it. They're gonna say, yeah, give me a ticket, I wanna go, take me. And I'll have a raffle. And all the BS people out there that just waste everyone's time, they'll be raffled. And you put your raffle ticket in and we'll go through the motions. We'll look at your your submission. And if you win the raffle, you get to go on an all expense paid trip to guess where? Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. And I'll have it set to where I have a ton of these judges who will gladly throw you in jail for doing anything to the adverse of what that town stands for. And then I'll bring that attitude back to what I know. Okay? So I think it's very, very, it's imperative that people understand time is of the essence and it's not to be wasted. We don't have a whole lot of time in this world. We have a very, very finite and limited amount of time, which means that every ounce of this time you have left on earth, it needs to be dedicated to strictly closing and dealing with people who are serious. Because if you're not serious, you shouldn't be talking to the people on the phone. You shouldn't be dealing with people if they're not serious, okay? You should cut off ties with these people. because they're gonna circulate the business community and the business climate with a bunch of muck. It's nothing but muck. Okay? If you look, like, say for instance, in this water, there's muck, green muck floating in there. See? That represents, this muck, in my eyes, represents some of the people out here that we have to deal with. Green, nasty muck. Okay? That's what we have to deal with in today's society, what a lot of these joker, broker, BS transactional people that have no agenda. And I was talking to a friend of mine this morning. I said, Brad, one of my brothers in arms, it's amazing that we had a conversation today about this. And we were talking about the fact that people have no consequences and they just loaf around. And we were talking about, how do these people actually stay in business? How do they even have a life? Because if you're not closing business deals, you're wasting time. And so we call them the sugar babies. They must be sugar babies, because I've never seen any place or any type of situation in my life where people can lollygag for years. I mean, decades. I've seen people do this for a decade or so on transactions, never have the intention to get anything done, never actually close any business, but yet and still, they're able to make phone calls every day because a significant other of theirs is out working and they're at home just playing around on the computer, not getting anything done and wasting your time and their time. And frankly, their spouse's time, because they're not being productive in the relationship. And they're definitely not being productive in business because they're wasting my time. So I know you're wasting your own time. Okay? So we have to learn to scout these people out. We have to either teach them to be better or discard them outright. You can draw the wall, or you can put up the wall. You can erect the wall between yourself and these people so you can continue to do what you do. But sometimes, it's a little more difficult than one would expect. Sometimes it's very difficult to go through the motions and find out who's who. I was just talking to my friend this morning. We were talking about this and he said, you know what, most of the time you never find out these things to the 11th hour or right in the middle of the transaction. In the beginning, everything looks great. But after you start going through the motions, you realize, wait a minute, this is certainly not as was advertised. This is something totally different than what was on the agenda when we first came to the table. So learn to find out these situations, save yourself time, get yourself a really good screener, a really good person that can go through transactions, determine the validity of them, that can actually look into these deals to determine whether or not they're worthy of your time, to determine whether or not they're worthy of your energy. A lot of these guys are energy vampires. Remember, the drop-off men. They're good at this. They find you, they drop something off in your lap, they let you do all the work, then they come back for a commission. These are the people you want to avoid, okay? Drop-off men, they're terrible, okay? Avoid them. Avoid the scenarios that I just mentioned. These people will take you on a ride. So make certain that truth or consequences is the first thing that you put out there when you start talking to people in your business dealings. Make sure they understand if they're not truthful with you, there will be consequences. Cactus Jack, bang, bang. All right, Conditioning for Business, volume 37. Back on the grind, steady trying, by design. All right, thanks a lot, people, for listening. Like, share, subscribe to the content. We'll drop more on a daily basis. Peace.